For those of y'all who don't know Drew McCaskill, one, get your whole life. Why don't you know Drew McCaskill? But you are, sir, a career expert in global communications at LinkedIn, and
Yeah.
you come by every so often to show us the latest and the greatest on what's going on with the hiring economy, the work economy generally.
Yeah.
What wonderful, amazing news do you have for us today?
Well, one, you and I got to talk about farming after this because
Oh.
I've been taking these classes on regenerative farming and
Ooh.
growing your own food and like doing things to like take care of whatever little plot of sand or soil that you have, so that
Wow.
you can actually use it for other things like vertical growing. Like I'm taking a series of classes, like for real.
And I remember during the pandemic, I feel like I saw videos of, was it you
Oh, yeah.
going in the backyard trying farming for like the first time? With
Well, I grew up on a farm
That's
in
right,
Mississippi.
that's
so,
right.
And I'm not gonna lie. During COVID, I had a little bit of extra time on my hands. I was
Mhm.
practicing. I was really protecting my peace during the pandemic. I was
Yeah.
like, if people if I'm gonna die from something, I'm not gonna die stressing about the thing that I'm gonna die from.
Right.
Like I'm gonna go outside and touch the grass. I was mowing the grass.
And then we can just slip on into glory, relaxed. we ain't got to go to
Right,
glory stressed.
Right. If I've got to go out, I ain't going out stressing over no emails.
Right.
So I built a vegetable garden in the backyard.
Wow.
My dude is from Detroit, so he came home from 2 days ago to see his mom, and he was like, "What is this?"
Oh my gosh.
I built like huge, like these big containers, like from like parts from Home Depot.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That is amazing.
Yeah, I'll have to send you the things of it. But
Yeah.
that farming thing is real. And growing your own stuff, even just the confidence that you get from growing one or two things is gonna do your spirit and soul some good. So I'm gonna just throw that out there for folks. But it is graduation season.
Whew, tell me about it.
People are graduating. I'm leaving here today to go to D.C. to see my nephew graduate from Howard University. I'm so proud of him. Yeah, I'm super excited about that.
You may just right now everywhere in the country. Ain't you?
Yeah,
You already know.
They
You
already
already
you know
know.
it.
You already
know that you know it. And so I'm super excited about that. But listen, recent grads are coming into a very different world. Like it's much more like 2008 than many of us want to admit. Hiring is down 7%. There are more people graduating.
How much percent?
Hiring is down 7%.
Damn.
Yeah, and so like I feel like I'm on a broken record because I keep saying it's tough out there, but it just is.
Yeah.
Like we got this the albatross of uncertainty is what the economists at my job.
Say Alcatraz. I was like,
don't bring it back. Don't bring it back. I don't care what anybody says. Do not bring Alcatraz back. But our economists call it the albatross of uncertainty.
Wow.
Around the neck of the U.S. economy.
Oh my
That's what we call it internally. And so like, and what that means is like, and two, you got more people graduating from university this year than we had even last year, and some of the people from last year who graduated are still like unemployed or underemployed.
Ouch.
So it's what we decided was like, okay, somebody has to do something to give people some sort of blueprint.
Yeah.
Right? And so what we did was we created the Grad's Guide to Getting Hired.
Ooh.
And so it's the Grad's Guide to Getting Hired.
Yay.
Part of it is we said, okay, well, about 44% of Gen Z said that it's really hard to stay positive in this job search. They've never experienced anything like this before. And listen, if you're in your 40s, I'm almost 50. I've been through some things. I've been through some economies, some ups and some downs.
Yeah.
But if like this is all you know, like you grew up in as a baby in the Obama years and everything was hope and change and you
optimism
and then you spend like 2 of your college years not partying but in a room by yourself in COVID, like you're finally coming out of it, you know what I'm saying, and you come into this particular job market, it's tough. And so we said, well,
it reminds me of what millennials were navigating, like when they were graduating high school versus when they were graduating college.
When they graduated college, and it is tough. And Black and brown professionals are feeling it even more so, right? Because we have, we have all of the additional pressures that go along with that, and so much of like you think about. I think about the pressure that we see, the additional pressure for Black and brown folks, even from like all of the federal layoffs, right?
Right.
Like we make up 14.
We over-indexed.
We make up 14% of the population, but over 20% of federal workers are African American.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Roughly 20% of federal workers are African American.
Oh my gosh!
So all of those times where you heard black grandma saying you need to get you a good government job, because good government jobs actually have increased African Americans' ability to be homeowners. That consistency, the ability to understand exactly how much you're going to get paid, and that whole thing. So what we're looking at is, where are the jobs?
Yeah.
Like, who's hiring?
Yeah.
So the first thing is the path to getting hired. The opportunities may be sort of off that beaten path. So let's talk about who's hiring. Construction is hiring.
Huh. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, well, you got construction.
They done ran off a lot of the people who were a part of that industry.
And the construction workforce at every level. We're not just talking about folks with hard hats on. We're talking about at every level. The construction industry is aging. And so they're really doing a lot to recruit people to get into construction. You also had one of the biggest infrastructure bills or signed and enacted and funded 2 years ago.
Right.
And so now there are cities and municipalities and stuff like that are actually starting to spend that money. And they're starting, so you need all those jobs in the construction industry. So the other piece of it is oil and gas.
Even though oil is like
oil, gas, and mining.
Really?
Yeah.
This is fascinating because we're seeing concerns within the oil industry because the value or the value attributed to a barrel of oil is at one of its lowest points. And so there have been a lot of concerns about pending layoffs, but you're saying that right now they're still hiring. So
they're hiring. So there's parts of it that where there are some parts of these jobs where chaos is going to push more hiring in certain parts of those businesses, right?
Okay.
So you may have people that are closer to the front lines of these things that will not be getting hired, but again, a much older workforce of people who are saying, okay, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like particularly a lot of industries where people have been it's been easy to predict, highly predictable industries.
Yeah.
The older people in that workforce are saying, I did my time. Y'all got this. I'm gonna let y'all do this, right? So you see construction, utilities, oil and gas and mining, wholesalers, these people who are exporting, where there are a bunch of these wholesalers, these bulk buyers. They're saying selling in this new paradigm is not for me, and so they're coming out. That is driving a lot of the growth in some of these less flashy industries because one, people aren't going to them. Yeah. They're having to recruit much harder. The other thing about that is that they're going to be more competitive as well. So you go to the places where nobody else is really going and looking. That's how you. That's just a strategy. Yeah. And listen, you don't have to be in those spaces forever. You don't have to be in those jobs forever. My first job as a marketer was not marketing the new Beyonce concert or hair products, right? I was not on the red carpet at the Met Gala.
You weren't at the Met Gala.
I wasn't at the Met Gala. My first job in marketing was selling financial services technology to banks. Check processing software. Bought my first house. Right? I was in my 20s.
You said first. Indicating there was a second. Look at what you can do in an industry that is not flashy.
It's not flashy. It was not popping, right? But I literally, some of my friends who were doing entertainment PR, because we were in Atlanta, LaFace was there, So Def was there. I had friends who were doing entertainment PR that were crashing at my crib.
I bet.
And I'm going with my little Banana Republic khakis on, Florsham shoes at 24, talking about check processing. So, and you could do that for a while. And I think that's the other thing that we're talking to grads about is you got to be adaptable. You got to renew your mind about this. The other thing is think about your geography and in terms of where people are hiring. The Sun Belt is going off right now. They are really recruiting people, trying to get people to come to Tucson. They're trying to get people to come to Savannah. They're trying to get people to come to Tallahassee, Chattanooga, Dallas, Texas, on fire. And so what we're saying is, okay, some of these cities don't have as many colleges and universities that are there. People are like who are there, they're going and they're trying to leave and go someplace else.
Right.
There's a lot of job opportunities there. You will probably have more opportunity to they're recruiting harder, so the pay may be more competitive. You may have more responsibility earlier and be able to get and gain more skills in some of these cities.
Huge.
You do not have to stay there forever. And here's a note for the folks who've been in the game for a minute and they're like, I'm underemployed.
Yeah.
It may be time to, take a leave from DC or take a leave from Manhattan or take a leave from Atlanta or leave Miami and go to maybe Tucson or Savannah and make up for lost time. Right? Because you're also, all of these cities are in lower cost of living markets.
Right.
And a couple of them don't have state income taxes.
Oh.
So if you think about that, like if you need a reset,
that might put you at parity with what you were hoping to make in these more expensive locations, no?
And help you maybe gain ground if you feel like that you haven't made what you needed to make, or you need to make up for some lost time.
Right.
Like, I think that this is a time where everything should be on the table in terms of how we're thinking about like how we're doing this. Like, because the other thing I think is really important is like people oftentimes are thinking about, okay, Drew, you're saying go to these industries, go to these other cities. How am I going to find that? Like, I'm out here looking. I'm looking hard. I'm applying. Right. The thing is, I think you got to do this smarter and not harder. And I talk about artificial intelligence and not steak sauce. Artificial intelligence technology. I talk about it all the time because I want us to really see. I used to say, Lurie, when I would come here, that AI might not take your job, but somebody who knows AI might take your job. There's a bunch of jobs that AI is taking right now, right? And so what I think you got to do. Listen, I think that any processes where like checks and balances of proofing and things like that, or there's a lot of things that are just going to be automated. Wow. And it might not take your whole job, but it's going to change your jobs. We're expecting all of our jobs to change up to 70% in the next 5 years because we're getting ready to become an AI-assisted workforce. Not an AI replaced, but an AI assisted workforce. So now if we're having conversations about your work product or what you're doing on a regular basis, and I'm asking you, well, did you put it through AI? Did you put it through Claude or ChatGPT, or what does Copilot say, right? Or have you tried to do this using an automated or an AI tool? Yeah. And if you say, no, I don't know how to do that, no, I don't really bang with that AI.
That's the wrong answer.
Now I'm looking at you totally different about a job that you used to do really, really well every day, because we are moving into going to be expected to be an AI assisted workforce.
Now, I want to sit there for just a second because I struggle with this. Yeah. I have used ChatGPT before. There was a report I was doing and I was like, okay, I think I'm done. And a sister friend of mine a sister friend of mine was like, you should run that through ChatGPT. I was like, I did that, what you just said. Like, why would I do that? What? And she was like, just try it. I ran it through ChatGPT. Now, the report was perfectly fine. Yeah. I would have turned, I would transfer, I would have finalized it and sent it on, it would have been fine. Yeah. But the level of polish that ChatGPT put on it, I was like, oh, snap. Yeah. Now, so there's that, my personal experience. Then I'm reading about this young boy whose parents are South Korean immigrants. He's born and raised here out of Atlanta and fully Americanized. And he's like going to top Ivy schools. He does not do any homework. He puts all of his prompts for homework through ChatGPT, and his comment to the reporter was, why would I actually do that? AI will give me everything that I need. And they were like, well, why do you go to college? He's like, I go to college because this is where I find my wife and my co-founders. And I was like, well, damn. So that's the second data point. The third data point is I'm on the train today and I'm reading because the train was late. So I'm reading a lot this morning.
The trains was crazy in New York today.
They've been crazy. Penn Station is a whole ass mess right now. It's a whole ass mess. But I'm reading about how one search in ChatGPT takes there was all these reports about how the data centers, because they require so much water, they are using in some towns, 60% of the water usage is a data center, not the people drinking the water. So my environmental conservation observation brain is very concerned. I'm also looking at my kids, and I'm like, yeah, y'all using ChatGPT? And like the answer is yes. And then all of the tensions around that. Yet and still, AI feels like it is not going anywhere. It is here to stay. But I feel conflicted.
Listen, I think that we all may feel conflicted. Like I feel conflicted about a lot of things that happen at work every day, but I still get up and go. I feel conflicted.
Drew said, take your conflict and run that through ChatGPT.
And run that conflict through ChatGPT. Get you an answer back. Listen, I'll give you a perfect example. I know we're pressed for time, but I'll give you a perfect example. LinkedIn just released AI assisted job search, and we brought in journalists, we brought in people to kick the tires, we brought in college students in real time to play with it in front of journalists, which is something that people never do.
Wow.
Right? And so basically what you can do is you can ask it, you can say, hey, find me a marketing job that's remote, but in the healthcare industry. And instead of the way people usually search for jobs, it'll pop up like 10 jobs, and then it'll run your LinkedIn profile against that job to tell you how much of a good applicant you are for that job. You could also put in there, say, I would like to use my marketing skills to solve world peace, and it will like pop up stuff at the UN, or it'll pop up like it literally will find your job, right? And so we did like a run with a career expert verbally and a young woman who was at a career pivot, and she went through and she asked her all these questions. She did all the stuff that you would traditionally do with like a career coach.
Right.
And then it took like 17 minutes.
Oh my God.
She put in 5 questions in the new AI assisted job search, and it was like 7 seconds, and she had the same responses. And so what I'm saying is, you don't get, my daddy said all the time, you don't get extra credit for doing it the hard way. Now, Black folks, you need to know how to do it the hard way.
Yes.
Because we just need to know how the sausage gets made before we eat it, right? Or before we put it on a plate, or whatever we're doing with it.
Especially with no food inspectors.
But you do not get extra credit for doing it the hard way. Damn. And so AI is gonna be it's a great tool to level the playing field and get ahead, but I think pretty soon it's gonna be the expectation.
Wow.
We are entering an AI-assisted workforce, and that means that people are going to expect you to do more with less because you have tools to help you do that. And so to meet that expectation, you're going to have to be AI literate. We also have all of our top AI courses available for free. You don't have to have LinkedIn Premium or any of that kind of stuff. I'm going to shoot you the link, Amina, so if listeners want that, you can tweet it out.
Yes.